Hi, I hope you are doing well today. My name is Sheba. Welcome to my channel, Sheba Sacred Guidance. Today we're going to talk about the importance of emotions and how to keep your emotions balanced, and how our thoughts create our emotions, and how our thoughts create our reality overall, and why it's so important to reach for the highest thought. Think the highest thought, even if you want to sink down to a lower thought because you might be used to thinking a lower thought. Just reach for the highest. So we're going to talk about that today. And pretty much let's get started with the emotional aspect. So emotions rule every part of our lives, and it's no doubt that they create our reality based off of how we feel, how we react to something, especially if we choose to. And what I mean by that is we can either jump on board with an emotion, or we can say, no, I'm not gonna jump on board with it. You can stay where you are. I feel you. I see what you're trying to tell me, but I choose not to do that. So we have choice when it comes to our emotions. They're radars, and we have a choice. Just like if something was blinking on a car and that the oil needs to be changed, we have a choice if we want to pull over and put some oil in the car, or if we want to pull over and get the oil changed, versus if we want to just kind of ignore it. Or a lot of times we can just jump into panic mode and say, oh no, the car is going to blow up. Okay, so it just depends. You have a choice on what you want to do with your emotions. But a lot of times people either will think that they'll get into that panic mode with their emotions. So they'll get into the panic mode, or they will completely ignore them, versus truly listening to them and trying to understand what they are trying to tell you, and then moving on from there. And I think everybody, to some extent, has been guilty of doing one or the other, or both. Getting too emotional in a situation. When your emotions are trying to tell you something, you just jump on board with them. Or the first one that I mentioned, to where you just completely ignore them. And so the thing that you didn't want to happen happens. Or the thing that you didn't want to happen, you create it even more by jumping on board with it. So you see how emotions are so important. They allow us to truly get what we want. They're really a gift to us. They're really helping us out in a big way. And a lot of times, or pretty much all of the time, our thoughts is what's creating our emotions. Our thoughts are the true seed of an emotion. So pretty much, like, when we might be going through a situation in life, let's say it's something kind of challenging, or we don't know exactly what's going to happen within the situation in life, and we have certain thoughts. We can keep our thoughts high, or we can keep our thoughts low about a situation, right? Let's say we keep our thoughts low about a situation, like as if, oh, this isn't really going to work for me. It's always been like this, so it's going to stay like this. Or your mind can't perceive it, of how things are going to turn out for the best. So you just think the worst. Okay, that's big. You hear that say, I don't know why people say that saying, but it's like, expect the worst or something like that. A lot of people expect the worst, and that's such a poor way of looking at thinking. You always want to think for the highest. Things change based off of how we feel, and what we think on the inside are outside changes. Remember, everything happens from the inside out. I know it's so cliche. I know everybody knows it, but a lot of times we don't practice that everything happens from the inside out. A lot of times we act like, oh yeah, I know. It's just, like it's something cool to say, but it's so true. Everything happens from the inside out. So if you reach for the highest thoughts and you allow yourself to be in a feeling to where, or be in a space to where you can truly feel your highest as well, because you're thinking at your highest, so then you can feel at your highest and you can have the highest emotions in a situation, versus being at a lower way of thinking. It's like it's all going to come crashing down because you're creating it. We truly are the creators of our reality, hands down, hands down. It is up to us, whether we believe we could do something or whether we believe we cannot. It is up to us. It's just that we get caught in a loop a lot of the times with our emotions, jumping on board with an emotion or ignoring an emotion. And so we get caught in the same loop, in the same way of thinking, and the same way of feeling. Okay. And then, of course, our bodies have that memory. And so we subconsciously just act out the same old, same old. Okay. So we can start to make change in our lives, changes in our attitudes, changes in our environments by really being conscientious of how we are feeling. Feelings are so important. How are you feeling today? How are you feeling? Are you feeling like you felt yesterday? Are you feeling like there's no hope? Are you feeling like you can't achieve what you want to achieve? Or do you feel like you have a handle on this? Do you feel like things are going to work out for the best for you? Do you feel like you are always being taken care of and always supported no matter what, because you are valuable, because you are here, because you are living, you exist? What are you feeling? We can create a difference based off of what we think, what we feel, and of course our emotions as well, because we feel through our emotions. Okay. What was I gonna say? Where was I at? I think I kind of diverted, but our thoughts, yes, our thoughts are super important in creating our reality. So some of the things that is super important to do is to be really conscientious of how you're feeling, what you're thinking, and where you want to go, versus just moving in the same way that you have always moved. Something that big that I've changed about myself is sacrificing myself, giving too much in relationships. And it was such a habit for me, to the point where I would do it and I would know I'm doing it and I would still do it. You see what I'm saying? Kind of like when you say, oh, I'm not going to eat a donut, and and you're still eating the donut and you're still thinking about how you said you wasn't going to eat it. And that was me when it came to relationships, not only like romantic relationships, but like friendships too, And so we all got certain things that, excuse me, we all have certain things that I know we want to change within ourselves. We have to be willing to change and put the effort in order to make something happen within ourselves, so something different can happen within our lives. We have the power to do that, nobody else. And so being very conscientious of your thoughts. Now I know we can't really be conscious of every thought we're thinking. It's kind of impossible. Our thoughts come really fast and go really fast, and we're thinking, like, I think something like because we're constantly shifting too. But our thoughts, they go in and out. They're a lot of, it's a lot of speed as it relates to our thoughts. But there are some things that we can do, and it requires, we talked about affirmations before, so affirmations are powerful when it comes to reshaping our thoughts, because we have to get behind it. It's not like we can I don't want to give too many examples, but it's not like we can confront our thoughts to the point where they will change automatically. We have to have certain tools and certain ways of thinking to get behind it, because we're talking about beliefs now. After we keep thinking a certain thought, now we're talking about beliefs. And so beliefs, they work with the negative ego to keep that negative belief there so that they can both live on. So they can be kind of tricky, because they don't want to be abandoned. They don't want to be killed off. They want to stay, and they want to continue this loop of you being consistently unhappy, even though that's not something that you truly consciously want. Okay. So I think we talked about beliefs a little bit, but we're going to go to beliefs, but not in this video, because we talked about affirmations and they're all leading up to beliefs. So we talked about thoughts with affirmations, kind of. And now we're going to talk about the emotions, because the emotions are the gateway. So some things that you can do for your emotions to kind of clear up, so that you can choose to have thoughts that are of your highest, are some things like emotional freedom technique, tapping. Okay, you'll tap the meridians of your body. I don't know off the top, but I know it's this one, the brow, the side, the eye, the this little part under your nose, the chin. I do know them all. The about three, about that far from your collarbone, about 2 to 3 fingers down from your collarbone. So right there, you want to tap, and then the side, your bra strap, or beside your not bust line, apex. Okay. And then at the bottom. And you want to say to yourself, yes, that you understand what you're going through, pretty much. You want to say to yourself that even though I'm going through whatever it is that you're going through, that you know that you can still move forward, that you know that you are still accepted, that you still love and accept yourself. That's pretty much, it came out in like the 90s, I want to say, maybe late 80s, early 90s. But these meridians in our body that I just tapped on, it's kind of corresponds with the acupuncture, like when they're sticking the little needles in your meridians. And so it can clear up energy, and so your emotions can move through you. Okay, so that's one exercise that's really good for like giving a voice to your emotions, so that they don't stay stuck, or so that you don't just jump on board with them. You can like really feel them and really allow them to come to the surface. Another great exercise that I like, my mom told me about it when I was younger. She's done a lot of it because it helps, especially with like anger, or can help with anything. But it's called, well, she told it to me as travailing, but it's also called emotional release exercise. And then somebody I heard recently call it sacred rage. Okay, so you'll pretty much find privacy, and you will beat on a pillow, okay, like a cushion, a pillow, or if you have like a plastic baseball bat, you can hit the pillow with the baseball bat. You can scream into the pillow, or if you don't have neighbors or whatnot, You can scream out loud. But that allows you to really start to get these emotions moving through your body. We stay in a society that says, no, you can't express your emotions. You should not be angry. Why? Because people don't like angry people, right? People don't like other angry people because, oh, then there's a problem, you know? And I'm not saying anger is like really good to hold on to, but it's higher than depression, you know? Being depressed is a low energy. Being guilty is a lower energy. Being angry is higher. After you get angry, you can do something about it. Okay? So you can, through this technique, this sacred rage or this travailing or emotional release technique, you can allow your emotions to move through your body so you can feel them, so you can express them, so you can give them a voice as well and let them out. Let them out. And so after that step of the yelling and the releasing part, pretty much, you want to fill yourself up. Fill yourself up with whatever you feel like you truly want or whatever you are truly grateful for in life. So you'll give thanks for the love that you truly have for yourself, or you'll give thanks for feeling at peace, or you'll give thanks for feeling joy, whatever it may be, okay? And you want to drink some water because water is big in flushing our emotions. That's another thing. Water is super huge in flushing our emotions. I mean, that's just one, of course, one great quality about water. You know, there's endless. When it comes to doing any kind of work, you need water, okay? And so water is great for flushing our emotions. Like, even if somebody's really getting on your nerves at work, my manager used to get on my nerves. I used to just drink so much water, like just to flush out those emotions that was coming through. But yeah, so you want to drink water after. Clean water. Clean water. So that's another exercise that can really help with moving your emotions through, giving them a voice and releasing them and letting them go. Because it's not good to hold on to all of that gunk and all of that, whatever it may be, despair and hopelessness. And we might feel hopeless about a situation, and we might feel, angry about a situation, and we might just hold it in and not express it. So we can express it in healthy ways. We don't have to express it by lashing out on somebody or by, being mean to ourselves, whether it's like giving ourselves substances that we truly don't want to give to ourselves, or whether it's talking down to ourselves, with the ego mind. So there's a lot of things that we can do to help with give ourselves grace. Another great thing I like to do to balance my emotions, I'm a fire sign, y'all. I'm a fire sign. I got a lot of fire in my chart. So it's been a long road for me as it related to, or as it relates to emotional balance, okay? And so another great thing, breathing, breath exercises. So when we think certain thoughts and we get worried about something, our breath begins to shorten. We start to breathe up here in our chest, and we begin to have shallow breathing, very small breaths, and we don't even notice a lot of the times. I just want to take a deep breath right there. So it's important to really notice how we're breathing and maybe learn some breathing techniques. Okay, I personally like, there's 3 breaths that I like a lot. So circular breathing, it's pretty much circular breathing. It's so many different names for them, and I'm not going to go into the the yogi names, or the what is this language called? The first language. I forget the name of it. I don't know, but the language that they use for yoga. Okay, I'm not gonna go into those names. I probably can't remember them now anyway, because it's been a while since I've used them. I just use kind of the typical names, but circular breathing is really great for calming you down. All of the breathing techniques are great for calming you down, easing stress, easing anxiety, helping to clear your mind, helping with emotional balance. Like in general, they're good for that. Now, some have certain qualities that other ones don't, or certain properties that they can give you that other ones don't. But most of all of them are, I would say, just kind of do certain ones, like just YouTube University, YouTube University it, and find out which ones are best for you. But yeah, circular breathing will go something like, you'll breathe to a 6 count through your nose, and then you'll breathe out to the count of 6 through your nose. So that will calm you down. It will give you a clearer mind, like we kind of just went over, but it'll give you a clearer mind, more peace of mind, and it will collect your thoughts. Okay. Another breathing exercise I really like, and you always want to breathe through your, like at least when you're trying to when you're calming yourself down, or you're bringing in, well, you can breathe, and you always want to breathe in your nose. I know there are mouth breathers. That's really unhealthy to breathe through your mouth. Of course, we're going to breathe through our mouth to some extent. We laugh and I'm talking and things like that. Of course, a small amount of breath, but to like really breathe, you always want to breathe through your nose. And whether you exhale out your mouth or out your nose, that depends on the exercise or the teacher or whatnot. So another one that I like is alternate nostril breathing. Now, this breath exercise is super powerful, super, super powerful. Now, they say this breath exercise, it does all of the things that I mentioned with the first one, but it also balances out your right brain and left brain. It helps with concentration, okay? So, and this one is good for really any time of the day, just giving you balance, but it's also great for like interviews and conferences, and if you're getting ready to do a video or whatever, a presentation or something like that, it's really great for that. And pretty much it's literally alternate your nostrils. And if you have a stuffy nose, you can't do it. Like if one nostril is stuffy and the other one is not, you can't do it. But you'll notice with the alternate nostril breathing that there's sometimes a dominant nostril, and there's sometimes one nostril is dominant and sometimes the other is dominant as far as clarity and breath being taken in. So I just think that's really cool. But I think everybody knows how the right brain and the left brain is separated. For most people, the right brain and the left brain is separated, about 98% of the population. But with this breath exercise, it really connects the right and the left brain. So I just think that's so cool. Okay, I mean, of course you'll have to do it. You'll have to be consistent, like just with anything, for you to get that kind of effect out of it. But you even just doing it like 5 minutes a day, you can get a great effect out of it. Okay, and let's see another one that I really like. I do like fire breath. I forget the yogic name of it, but I do like fire breathing. And it's pretty much breathing through your belly, and you inhale, and as you exhale, you kind of force the breath out and you press your belly in. So you press your abdominal in and you breathe out like, okay. So that one gives you a lot of energy. Now with some breathing exercises, you do have to be mindful if like you have high blood pressure or whatnot. Like that's one of them. You have to be mindful of people that have high blood pressure. You don't want to overdo it. You want to be careful. So you kind of want to check the instructions a little bit deeper if you have high blood pressure before you do it too much. And that really works the abdominal muscles. But not only that, it gets you energized. It gives you, it awakens you, okay? And it brings all of these breath exercises brings oxygen to your body and in different ways. One last one that I really like, I like breath exercises, but one because they've helped me so much. I used to be a constant yarner. I used to yarn constantly, and it was so embarrassing to like where, you know, let's say I was in front of somebody and having an interview and I was talking to them or something. I was just yarn and it was like so embarrassing, but I couldn't help it. I just needed it because my brain wasn't getting the oxygen that it needed. Well, when I was doing my yoga teacher certificate practice, my yoga teacher, she taught us a specific breath exercise it's called either victory breath or ocean breathing. You know, there's different names for these breaths, but she taught us this breath, and you pretty much restrict the back of your throat. So you'll breathe through your nose and you'll restrict the back of your throat. So excuse me, you get so much more oxygen in your brain. And I still do breathe like that for the most part, because it gives you like, you use your full diaphragm and you get like really deep breaths, and you get a lot of oxygen into your body, and that oxygen goes straight to the brain. So when she told me that, and I understood that constant yarning was a side effect of not getting the oxygen to the brain, I said, okay, well, let me do this breath and let me see how this goes. And like a couple years later, I can't pinpoint it, but I remember a couple years later thinking like, oh, I don't yarn like I used to anymore. So see, this stuff works, y'all. It really does work. And this is like, these practices and techniques, they've been around for millions of years, you know. I mean, the Western civilization just got hip to it in like the 70s, I guess 80s. But, and now it's like, we're really getting hip to it, you know, but it works, okay? So that's another thing that I like to do this video is going kind of long, but that's okay. Yeah, that's another breath I like to do. And you breathe through your nose, so with your mouth closed. I know you're thinking Darth Vader. Yeah, it sounds like Darth Vader too. And especially when you first start doing the breath, you'll really get more of an ocean sound because, like, I guess your body isn't used to it or whatnot. But yeah, so those are just some of the breathing techniques that I like to do that help to calm me down in my emotions, and far beyond that, you know, I use them before meditation or to help me feel better throughout the day, to help me awaken if I'm feeling tired. Like I'll use that fire breath to give me more energy. If I have to complete a project and I'm feeling tired, I'll use that. Or if I'm driving, I'll use that and I'm feeling a little bit tired, you know. But yeah, let's see. Let's do one more. Okay, one more thing. I like to help my emotions balance. So we kind of did, of course, meditation. And I have a meditation video. Maybe I'll do another one, but I have a video about meditation, how that helps with emotional balance for sure. Absolutely. 100%. I suggest meditation. But besides the meditation, so we kind of talked about the inner, our thoughts. Because when we're doing things, when we're doing something, we're spirit. So we want to talk about our thoughts, how we feel, our spirit, the spiritual aspect. So meditation, how we're thinking and noticing how we're feeling, our emotions, right? So that's one aspect. And then we kind of went more into the, yes, breath is spirit. So the, but it's more physical too, right? But it's with our bodies. So the breathing, okay, and the emotional freedom technique and the emotional release or the sacred rage technique. And then let's talk about a little bit about some objects on the outside that we can use. I like essential oils. I really like essential oils. I just, when I first started to learn about essential oils, it kind of just amazed me, you know, how you can smell something and that can change your mood. You know, who knew? But it is so true. Like imagine smelling imagine smelling garbage, and you know, we all pass by something that it stinks and you're like, ugh, and it changes your mood, like gross, you know. And versus passing by, you know, in the springtime and you're passing by honeysuckles and you're like, it smells so good, like, you know, definitely it could change your mood. It can like uplift you or bring you down. And so different essential oils do that. And so like I like geranium a lot. It helps to keep my mood high. They put geranium oil, essential oil, in mood perfumes. So all of these mood perfumes, yeah, they're using something natural, okay? It's not fake, okay? Or they might use chemicals and whatnot, but they still need that natural essence, okay? They still might use a lot of fake artificial fragrances for their perfume, but they still need that natural essence of the geranium oil to help really you have their perfume, you know, to be authentic, to really work. So yeah, I like geranium. Lavender is a great one. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling, you know, really emotionally down, or if you have a lot of anxiety, lavender is great for that. I love lavender. Yeah. Rose oil, rose, it helps to heal your heart. It helps to heal your emotions. If you're like emotionally like really sad or just upset, rose oil is really good. And a lot of people say that they don't like rose oil, but guess what? A lot of people haven't really smelt the real rose oil. They usually smell the artificial or the fragrance, the artificial fragrance of rose oil. So try some real rose oil. I bet you'll love it. Okay, I bet you'll love it. And try to stay away from those artificial ones, because for one, they're really not, they're not going to connect with our brain. See, they're not going to connect with us because they're not truly real. It's artificial. Just like you can't have an artificial synthetic medicine and think that that medicine's going to work for you, or excuse me, that artificial vitamin and think that vitamin's going to work for you. You can't have artificial nothing and think that it's going to work. It's not going to give you the real effect of the real. It's not going to be the real McCoy, okay? So yeah, definitely when you're using essential oils, make sure it says therapeutic grade. Kind of look for the source. But I love essential oils. And then you always have the other ones that can keep you awake and alert, like rosemary, you know, that clears the mind. That's great for giving you mental clarity and more understanding. It's just so many great ones, okay? So many great ones. Grounding. And not only do they help with, I mean, we're just talking about the emotional, psychological aspect of essential oils, but they have other great uses for them too. But I think I'm going to close it up with that. And I just wanted to give you some pointers on helping you to balance your emotions, because it's super important. I will be doing an emotional meditation, a meditation to balance your emotions, to relax your emotions. So check that out on my channel a little bit later on. And check out my other recordings too. Right now they're free. I don't know, I just decided to make them free. I just wanted to give, okay? I didn't really want to charge anybody for giving, but I might price them again. And so get them now while it's hot, while it's free, okay? But yes, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you. This was a pretty long video, so thanks for sticking all the way through. And go ahead and like the video if you got something from it. Subscribe to the channel and share it with somebody so it can help somebody else, okay? We're all about helping one another to heal and grow, and so that we can truly express our authentic self, so we can help humanity change for the better, okay? That's what it's all about. Self-growth, self-healing, and let's help each other to do that. Thank you so much. I love y'all. Bye.